We all generally recognize that we are living in a time-pressured environment, regardless of whether or not we overslept this morning. It often seems that there are just not enough hours in the day. We find ourselves longing for more energy to accomplish all that we want or need to do. Sometimes it may seem that we are wrestling with twin enemies: frustration and fatigue. Fatigue is a major problem worldwide. Studies from the US and abroad suggest that in Western nations millions of people have significant problems with fatigue. In the United States, fatigue is one of the top 10 most common reasons for visiting a physician. Making things worse, a significant portion of those troubled by fatigue cannot fall asleep when they go to bed. Recent US data indicates that some 3.3 million patients each year visit their doctors for insomnia alone. Older individuals have been thought to be at greatest risk for this problem. As many as 34% of Americans over 65 have problems with insomnia. A recent study found that sleep problems are common even in young adults aged 17 to 30. Researchers surveyed about 3,000 individuals regarding problems with sleep, such as difficulty falling asleep, waking up frequently, disrupted sleep, napping during the day, nightmares, and waking up too early or waking up tired. Only 36% responded that they were free of all of these indicators. In Western nations, insomnia and related concerns have been documented in preschool children. For example, a German study found that 12% of 4 to 5-year-old children had difficulties falling asleep. The research is clear. For a variety of reasons, literally millions of people throughout the world are legitimately crying out, "Why am I so tired? And what can I do about it?" Onto this stage stepped a nutritional supplement named melatonin. In 1993, newspapers throughout the US carried word of research from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Scientists there had demonstrated that small amounts of melatonin acted as a natural sleep aid. Melatonin's popularity grew in 1994 when the lay press reported that it could decrease jet lag. Melatonin is not a foreign substance to the body, but a natural hormone produced in the body and found in certain foods. Even though melatonin supplements have been a commercial success, there is another particularly exciting line of research regarding this hormone. Namely, we are learning that we can boost melatonin production in our own bodies in natural ways without having to resort to costly supplements. Before looking at the other far-reaching effects of this natural compound, we need to look more closely at the areas of research that first ushered melatonin into the limelight. Enhancing sleep. Israeli researchers led by D. Garfinkel looked at melatonin's effect on a dozen individuals whose average age was 76. For 3 weeks, half of the group was given 2 mg per day of controlled-release melatonin, and the other group was given a placebo. After a 1-week break, the study was repeated with the other half of the subjects getting the active melatonin, while the remainder got the placebo. The results demonstrated an increase in sleep efficiency while on melatonin. It improved from 75% without melatonin supplementation to 83% while on melatonin. This and other studies have also shown evidence that melatonin helps decrease the time it takes to fall asleep, 19 versus 33 minutes in Israeli data. Garfinkel and his colleagues concluded that melatonin helped to improve the efficiency of sleep, although it did not improve total sleep time. This means that a person will spend a shorter time in bed to get a given amount of sleep. Coping with jet lag. Melatonin has been documented to help with one of the major aggravations of modern travel, namely, jet lag. A number of studies, using a variety of doses and regimens, have looked at this effect. One report concluded that the most effective regimen involved taking melatonin on the day of the flight and continuing it for 5 days thereafter. Aging, healing, and general repair. Perhaps, nothing has captured the human imagination as much as the quest for a fountain of youth. Some today are suggesting that medical research may have provided at least a partial candidate for a youth restorer in melatonin. These sentiments grow out of the daily wear and tear that our bodies sustain. Consequently, it has been dubbed the fix and rejuvenate nighttime hormone. These healing and general repair effects of melatonin may actually help to delay some of the changes that we normally attribute to aging. There are other lines of evidence that suggest that melatonin may help to slow the aging process. It is well known that human melatonin levels fall throughout life. Nighttime levels reach a peak in children between 1 and 5 years of age and decrease steadily throughout puberty. By the end of puberty, peak melatonin levels have decreased 75%. Levels continue to fall steadily throughout adult life. Melatonin increases the longevity of animals. Melatonin levels also decrease in animals as they get older. Giving melatonin to animals increases their longevity. Could this lifespan enhancement be due to some type of anti-aging effect exerted by melatonin? If so, how specifically would that effect come about? A variety of lines of research suggest that melatonin's anti-aging effects in animals, as well as in humans, perhaps, may hinge largely on its role as a free radical scavenger. Melatonin's role as an antioxidant. The most toxic of the oxygen-free radicals is a compound called the hydroxyl radical. Fortunately, melatonin is an effective antioxidant in dealing with this radical. It is even more powerful than the widely touted natural antioxidant called glutathione. In one laboratory model, melatonin emerged as a 5-fold more potent antioxidant than glutathione. Melatonin is superior to vitamin E in handling the toxic peroxyl radical. Overall, the literature indicates that melatonin protects against free radical damage from certain carcinogens, herbicides and radiation, preventing or helping to fight cancerous tumor. This hormone appears to still have other anti-cancer properties. Research has demonstrated that melatonin can slow the growth of breast cancer cells. Some of these additional benefits in the area of cancer prevention and treatment may result from the immunostimulating properties of melatonin. Immune enhancement. Dr. Georges Mastroni and colleagues from Switzerland have performed some fascinating research that looked at the critical role that melatonin performs in the immune system. One of their groundbreaking experiments involved 2 groups of mice. Both were deliberately infected with a dangerous virus and then subjected to a stressful situation. The only difference was that one group was also injected with melatonin. The results were startling. At the end of 30 days, 92% of the mice that had not received melatonin, only 16% had died. There was a striking 5-fold difference in mortality. In another study by Mastroni's group, they demonstrated that melatonin can stimulate certain white blood cells to make immune-stimulating compounds. Some of these compounds have the ability to help regulate a key immune system gland, the thymus. They also help in dealing with the effects of stress. Helps to cope with stress and maintain a positive outlook. The work of Georges Mastroni and his Swiss collaborators provides evidence that melatonin has a role in decreasing the impact of stress on the immune system. Melatonin also appears to have significant effects upon other ways our minds and bodies relate to stress. Whether it is stress or other factors that tend to pull us into a negative frame of mind, there is evidence that melatonin may play a role in maintaining a positive mood and outlook. There are several lines of evidence that melatonin may contribute to one's sense of well-being. 1. Some of the most popular drugs to treat depression increase levels of serotonin, a compound used by the pineal gland to make melatonin. 2. An autopsy series of suicide victims found significantly less melatonin in their brains than in the brains of others who died at same age and the same time of day. It may help to lower cholesterol and blood pressure. Besides the animal tests that show that melatonin can enhance cholesterol removal, there is evidence from human tissue studies that melatonin can also decrease the amount of cholesterol that human cells make. German researchers demonstrated that melatonin caused human cells to decrease their level of cholesterol production. The level of decrease was impressive, measuring nearly 40%. Another important factor in heart disease and stroke is high blood pressure. Animal research suggests that melatonin may also help to lower blood pressure. In animal models, melatonin manifests the ability to counter sympathetic nervous system activity. This decrease, in turn, has been demonstrated to lower blood pressure as well as heart rate. Partial solution for osteoporosis. Melatonin appears to be necessary for optimal calcium metabolism and helps to lower the levels of a calcium-robbing hormone called cortisol. Melatonin also affects a group of chemicals called prostaglandins, PGs. One particular prostaglandin, PGE, appears to cause the loss of bone mass. Melatonin blocks prostaglandin synthesis, thus decreasing levels of a compound that is destructive to bone health. Melatonin. Is all the news really good? With all of this going for it, what could get in the way of melatonin continuing to be a sweeping international success? One factor interfering with melatonin's drive to be the world's most popular supplement is governmental actions. England and Canada handle melatonin differently than the US. In England and Canada, the compound can only legally be obtained by prescription. In the United States, melatonin is considered a dietary supplement. The law forbids the FDA from reviewing compounds marketed as dietary supplements for effectiveness or safety. This lack of monitoring or accountability raises some concerns. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.